Hello everyone, and today we're back with another episode of Mr. Loyal. It's me, and we're coming back with another episode of Legends of Runeterra. And today we're gonna discuss about the patch note. Let's see what it is. So, the patch note today, it is like very cool. So it's concerning meta games. Since we're updating for a few cards, which seems a big patch, and for another meta game snapshot. Like the deck that the meta is including, which is the Trundle, Fate Fist, the Fist, one of the most disgusting card, Fiora Shen, which is one of my most hated deck of all time. I personally dislike this deck. As in, like, I don't like this deck at all. Like, ever. I don't like Fiora as a card. I don't like Fiora as a champion. I don't like Fiora at all. Because I hate her in League of Legends. And the other cards is Soya Filios. Filios quite a Mr. Fate thing card. So a lot of cards here. We have Frostbite Noxus, Solo Fiora as well. GP, Nasus Kindred. Like there's a few decks that have been touched. Mainly Fiora, Shen, Video Zoe, Big Fizz, the card that should be discussed. So we first gonna talk about this card, Twisted Fate. Finally seen a nerf from 4 mana 2/2 to still 4 mana 2/2, and the change level of requirement have changed from Dawn 8 to Dawn 9. To me, I think that this is the only nerf that you can give Twisted Fate. The only nerf. The other nerf will basically kill this champion. Change it to draw 9, make it so like it's a little bit harder to complete the Twisted Fate in one turn, and still make this card somewhat playable. If you like buff it to if you nerf to 5 mana and buff the stats to become 3/3, it'll be expensive, too expensive. If you buff it to 3 mana 1/1, then it becomes trash as well. So I think this is the only change that they can make. If you make it draw 10 cards, that'll be absurd, and that will be like, you can't do that. So like, this is the only nerf that they can give Twisted Fate. And they say Twisted Fate quest can be completed in extremely short window of time, because there's level 2 is usually completed game winning. We feel that we need to increase the quest requirement. That's true. Spot on by Riot. And next, Fiora actually get a nerf, and I'm pretty happy for this one. Fiora get a nerf. I hate Fiora so much. Like, I hate how like people build a deck around her and just like buff, barrier, chafe sight, protected, a barrier. You can't do this anymore. Buff this card, stand alone, pow pow pow. And this one time with like Unyielding Spirit was like so popular. Like, you just slap Undying, and you just slap Unyielding, and if you're become unkillable. Now you can remove it with nerfing it from 3/3 to 3/2 is huge, because now you can initially remove it with this card. My favorite card. 3 mana due 2 from Noxus. And yeah, make it easier to remove, it's easier to create pressure of removal on Fiora, and it make it harder to trade to a 2 attack unit. And she can only stay to 1 attack unit now, unless you give her barriers and stuff that Shen deck was prioritized from doing. I think this will make Fiora see less play. Next, Jarvan 4. Get a buff, one of my favorite cards. From 5/3 to 6/4, and the level up from 6/4 to 7/5. Jarvan's stats is a little bit weak. Yes, Jarvan has been the least played champion of Empire the Ascended. We want him to give him straightforward buff. This is true. Nobody plays Jarvan, except I stream it a bit on twitch.tv/Mr. Loyal, and I kind of like the card, but it's a bit too slow and too weak to play. But now buff it so you have a heavier stat. It's good, especially like when you have barrier, you can free trade now, which is kind of nice. And also, not only Jarvan, it seems like his Dragon Bay has been buffed as well. Shyvana nerfed the stats to 3/4 but added Fury. This is one thing I never understand about Shyvana, is that she's a dragon, right? And why doesn't she have Fury? This is always bugging me. Like, she never had Fury. She was a dragon, but she's never had Fury, which is stupid, in my opinion. I understand that Riot think that like, oh, you can buff Shyvana and Shyvana becomes stronger, so you don't have to have Fury. But in my opinion, having Fury is the dragon thing, and not having Fury is basically just kills Shyvana because she gets hurt, she come back but she still hurts, making Fury making her harder to remove. Also, Shyvana level 2 add Fury as well and nerf the stat to 4-5. I think this is better a little bit. Like, you will see more play, of course. And yeah, it's around well nerf and well adjust. I want to see like played more with maybe Jarvan and Shyvana. Maybe see a bit more play here. Another card, Lulu. Lulu got buffed from base stat from 2-3 to 3-3 and level 2 from 3-4 to 4-4. Lulu was seen least played, yes. Lulu has been among the least played champions at her launch. Look to reinforce some Ionic aggressive capability in this patch. And yeah, this is a solid buff because Lulu was basically like nobody played Lulu. Nobody plays her. And it can be an oppressive card when do right, but usually like falls to removal and stuff. So making not just fall to removal, she just weak attack. Her having weak attack rely so much on the support, and if the support get removed, she's nothing. So I think this is an okay buff. Lulu, I don't know if she see more play. I guess not by much because still Lulu support does not get a lot of love in this game. Next is pick a card, buff to 2 cost mana, 2 mana cost, and change the text from draw 3 fleeting to draw 2 fleeting. This is a solid nerf because even though it's cost 2 now, this card you typically use draw Twisted Fate, and making it draw 2 now is so like, okay, so if you play Twisted Fate Fist, right, and you use a lot of cards, you run out of gas. Oh, I got pick a card, I'm gonna draw 3 next round. No, actually I draw 4. Because it's 1, 2, 3, yeah, and then you draw 1 more cards that make it 4. You draw 4. If you use the old pick a card, this time you draw 3 because you draw 2 fleeting and you draw 1 more, which is not fleeting. Solid nerf, okay nerf, not unplayable, still playable. Some deck that you require cycle, but it will become significantly weaker. Next is Wiggly Bubblefish. I hate this card so much because essentially it becomes a 0 mana 3-1 with elusive. Now making it 0 mana 2-1 with elusive, make it so that it's less frustrated to deal with. Because even though you can remove it if you play Shadow Isles, you can play Withering Whale or Spider Thing, and you can remove it. But if you play any other deck, you typically become a 0 mana 3-1, bam. And with the copy thing from Piltover, it becomes a 0 mana 4-2 with elusive, unbelievable. And now it becomes 0 mana with 3-1 with elusive, which is less unforgiving, but less frustrated to die now because like you remove 1 attack, become less of a threat, and the attack is still a threat because it's elusive, and elusive is a piece of shit. And next we have Dreaded Dredger, reverted to become 2-1, and yeah, it makes Eve a bit more viable. And Dreadway, Mogwai is happy with this, of course. They nerfed the cost. They buffed the cost from 9 to 8, but they nerfed the strat from 4-8 to 4-6. Dreadway is one of the most frustrating cards I ever play against and with because it have 8 health. Can't remove it. Basically, in my opinion, like it's hard to remove it. You know how hard it is to remove Leviathan? It's as equally as hard to remove Dreadway. So, and basically with Dreadway on the board, right, you essentially double everything. Everything become like double damage, and it's just like, wow. Dreadway is such an oppressive card, but it costs 9. So it essentially was the most broken card that wasn't playable, in my opinion. The effect was strong. The only thing that keep it down is the cost. But now, like with the concurrent timeline Letros combo that Mogwai has been not happy about, and fun fact, I faced that deck. Me personally, I have faced that deck 3 times. I never lost. I never lost because they never manage to pull Dreadwave from Ledros. They just get super lucky because you have 40% chance to win, but the 40% chance is still annoying if you lose to. So this is a good change moving forward for Riot, because making it 8 mana cost card, make it so they can fit in more deck. We can see way more play, but personally I don't really like this card, but I have high hope for this card in the future. Next we have Shadow Assassin from 1-2 flip to 2-1. Shadow Assassin used to be one of the most oppressive cards in the Ionia region, basically because it's a 3 mana 2-2 with draw 1 with elusive. So like it's kind of hard to remove. You need to remove this card, and it's causes a threat on attack because you can't typically block it. You need to remove it somehow. So and when it nerfed to 1-1, no, when it nerfed to 1-2, it essentially was unplayable because oh, it just hit me 1. I don't care, just hit me. Hit me. But now it's 2-1, it's a little bit like, oh, I need to remove this card. So it's kind of creating pressure on the card. It's really interesting. Fey Guy was buffed from 3-3 to 3-4. Got better stat. I don't like Fey Guy, basically because I don't like elusive. But I think this is a solid change coming to Ionia. Maybe they want to bring elusive aggro back. I don't like elusive aggro that much because I don't like elusive. But I guess it can see a little bit more play. I don't think it so far with this only 2 card buff and Lulu. I don't think that elusive will see as much play as before. It's gonna be oppressive, but it's not as much as it used to be. Region Rearguard was reverted from 3-1 to 3-2. Port Noxus aggressive region identity. Yeah. Region Rearguard with 3-1 become unplayable. Like after a while, because like now you got the 3-1 with can block, and now like you need this card to become 3-2 because like now you have a lot more tools to play around. So I guess this is a solid buff, and to aggro Noxus, basically overwhelm. So maybe we can see it back again. And Sea Scarab. Before I move on, I want to make sure like Noxus aggressive, Noxus aggro. It's an okay revert coming back, and I hope to see more play. I hope when my favorite champion become a card, like this can pave way for my favorite champion to become in Noxus aggressive mid-range deck. My favorite champion is Kled, by the way. Next is Sea Scarab, buff from 1-2 to 2-3. Still have deep. Like with Thread the Dredger, with the deep early game could use a boost. We want to respond to feedback by both making it less detrimental when generated, reinvigorating deep strategies. This is a solid buff, and deep may have a comeback. I already crafted a deep deck, so it will be interesting to see how deep change in the future. Esteem Hierophant. Change from advanced to bury Sundays when I'm summoned by 2, and when I'm summoned change it to 3. What's funny is that when the first iteration of the Sundays come out, this card wasn't picked. Even though this card has the best synergy with Bury Sundays, this card wasn't picked. Because why? Because it's too slow. Mainly because it's too slow. But now making it to 3 rounds may have some play in it. People may use that 1-off or 2-off now if they want to play with Sundays. Next is Kalya's Bone Crusher, buff stat from 6-3 to 6-4, but have reputation at cost 2. It's essentially become 4 mana 6-4 now, which is fine, I guess. Aggressive and maybe see more play in Overwhelm Shurima, but the stat was 6-4. It doesn't have Overwhelm, so it's still gonna get cut from Shurima Overwhelm Failure. So yeah, solid buff, but I don't think it will be much play. All the Aphelios gone, which changed the cost to 3. This is huge. Like, this is huge. Aphelios is basically 100 times more slower now. Like, it's nerfed so hard. And I was like 200 years coming into Legends of Runeterra when I actually have a spare video about Aphelios, but I didn't make it, unfortunately. 200 years coming to Legends of Runeterra, and 200 years of nerf have been coming through him. Nerf the strats, nerf the gun. I think Aphelios will see like less play now, or even if he gets play, he wasn't that oppressive anymore. A solid nerf, and I kind of like it. But they buff Gift from Beyond to 1. Compensate with this. So now we need to play around more now. 4 mana So now essentially if they still have 4 mana, they can still pull this off. But in the long run, this more damage. And I see the tempo got nerfed. Each round change from +1/1 and refill 2 mana to still refill 2 mana but bluff 1-0. One thing I don't like about Riot tempo is that it continues to buff. And if like you have cards that have spam this, become buff, and like it becomes so oppressive you can't kill it, you can't kill the card, making this so like it become oppressive on attack but less on defense. Still refill 2 mana is still what I don't like. Yeah, so yeah, I think that's all the card change. There'll be some more new labs. Labs of Legend, Ultra Rapid More, and we have Earth board. Nice board. I hope they have nice songs so that I'm so interested in board. We have new Garden and Earth. Carpe Spatula. Banana for Flying Fish. Earth has special visual effect. Have a rub him. Very nice. If they have Flex Emo, that would be nice too. They did. They did. They have a Flex Emo on him. So cute. That little guy is flexing. Like, he's strong. And what a nice card back to go along with it too. And it's a bundle coming in with 2169 coin. Nice. And there are some bug fixes. I don't see bug fixes issue. Like from the top of my head, I can't see the bug fix where like the thing with right of negation and like the icon stick on the board, because that's annoying. And that's bad because now you can't deny something because it can bug go through. I don't know why they don't like note it on the bug fix. I hope they fix it. I hope they fix it actually. So yeah, I think that's it. The meta will be shifted significantly. The winner of this patch is definitely Deep and Ionia Elusive, but Ionia Elusive is not gonna be oppressive, so I think the biggest winner is going to Deep. The biggest loser going towards Twisted Fate and Fizz because many of the cards get nerfed. So yeah, that's it. Looking forward to see in the future how's it going to be in Legends of Runeterra. I stream a lot on twitch.tv/Mr. Loyal, and I hope I'll see you later. Thank you very much.